In this video tutorial, we'll focus on how to do complex number algebra. So our focus would be on basic calculations of adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing complex numbers with each other. So let us say W represents a complex number of A plus BI, and Z represents a complex number of C plus DI. If we say W plus Z, that is equal to saying A plus BI plus C plus DI. And I can add like terms together. So it'll be A plus C plus B plus DI. Let us look at a simple example. Let us say that W is equals to 5 plus 7i and Z is equals to 2 plus 3i. So if we want to add W with Z, we will have 5 plus 7i plus 2 plus 3i. And I can add like terms together. So it'll be 5 plus 2, which is equals to 7. And then 7i plus 3i, which is equals to plus 10i. And that is how we add complex numbers with each other. In our second example, again, we have W and Z as complex numbers, and now we will subtract them from one another. So that will be A plus BI minus, and in brackets, C plus DI. And when I simplify, I have A minus C plus BI minus DI. Or we could say A minus C plus B minus DI. Let us again look at a simple example where W is equals to 5 plus 7i and Z is equals to 2 plus 3i. So when I say W minus Z, that is the same as saying 5 plus 7i minus 2 plus 3i. And if I simplify, it is 5 minus 2, which is equals to 3, and 7 minus 3, which is equals to positive 4i. So again, we simply add or subtract like terms from one another. In our third example, we will multiply complex numbers with one another. So now we need to remember to use parentheses or brackets. So it's A plus BI times C plus DI. And you would expand the brackets as you have learned how to do it in algebra. So it will be A times C, which is AC, plus A times DI, which is ADI, plus BI times C, which is BCI, plus BI times DI, which is BDI squared. Now remember that I represents the square root of negative 1. So I squared would be equals to the square root of negative 1 squared, which is equals to negative 1. So when we simplify, we have AC minus BD, where the I square changes to negative 1. So we have AC minus BD plus AD in brackets plus BCI. So let us look at a practical example on how to multiply complex numbers with one another. Let us say that W is equals to 5 plus 7i and Z is equal to 2 plus 3i. And we want to multiply W with Z. So that is 5 plus 7i times 2 plus 3i. And if I multiply out, it's 5 times 2, which is 10. Then 5 times 3i, which is 15i, plus 7i times 2, which is 14i, plus 7i times 3i, which is 21i squared, where I squared is equals to negative 1. So that will be 10 minus 21, which is equals to negative 11, and then 15i plus 14i, which is equals to 29i. So that is how we multiply complex numbers with each other. In this example, we'll divide W with Z. So that will be a plus bi divided by c plus di. Now, it might look a little bit complicated, but actually what you need to do in order to simplify this fraction is to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. So that is c minus di. So remember, the conjugate, if I have c plus di, the conjugate of that is c minus di. And in order to simplify this fraction, I multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate. Let us look at a practical example. So let us say we want to divide w with z. So that is 5 plus 7i divided by 2 plus 3i. And in order to simplify, I take the conjugate and I multiply both the numerator and denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. So that is 2 minus 3i. And if I expand in the numerator, I have 5 times 2, which is 10, minus 15i plus 14i minus 21i squared over 4 minus 6i plus 6i minus 9i squared. And remember that I squared is equals to negative 1. So when I simplify, I have 10 minus I minus 21 times negative 1 over 4 minus 9 times negative 1, where the 6 i's will cancel one another out. And simplifying further, I have 31 minus I over 13. And that is how we divide complex numbers with each other.